Okay, everybody, welcome to Hormones and Skin. I'm Emily Guerin, and I am a skin and wellbeing therapist. So I have been in the industry for 20 years now, and love everything about skin and wellbeing. Originally started in the beauty industry as nails, lashes, those sort of things, and just found a passion for skin and wellbeing. So I am currently in my early stages of peri-menopause, and this is something for me that I become really passionate about looking at things within my own clients, what struggles they've had with their skin, and looking at it as a whole, and which we will both go through tonight, me and Renata, how it is, it's what we put in our bodies as well as what we put on the outside. It's a combination of the two that work together. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm going to hand you over to Renata now. She's just going to introduce herself to you. I'll pop you over, Renata.
Thank you. So, hi, everyone. I'm Renata Trebling. I'm an intuitive nutrition coach at Nourish with Renata. And so, what that basically means is I help women really figure out the foods that work best for their bodies, and specifically to help to balance their hormones, no matter where they might be in life. So, you might be in your reproductive years, you might be entering perimenopause, you might be in menopause or beyond. And so, it's really important for me to be able to share with women what are the foods that help you to feel the highest energy, the most vitality for life, and to focus on that so that you can live your happiest and healthiest life too.
Thank you very much, Renata. So I'm going to go through now a little bit about what happens to the skin during perimenopause, menopause, and also if you are still having periods, because obviously our hormones still fluctuate even if we are having regular cycles. So estrogen, which plays a massive part in our body, it affects so many different things, and especially when we're going through perimenopause and menopause, you will find that you will have lots and lots of changes in your skin, and I'm just going to pop on mute, in your skin. So estrogen is there to help maintain the collagen, the structure of the skin, skin hydration, and basically the skin integrity. So during perimenopause and menopause, and within some of our cycles, you will find that as the estrogen starts to fluctuate, this can be on your early stages of your perimenopause, menopause journey. As your estrogen starts to fluctuate, you will find lots of different changes within your skin. It will start to lose its ability to retain like fatty acids. It will also it will change to the hyaluronic acid, which is a natural water molecule that we have in our skin. It will also affect the sebum, which is the oil in our skin. Ceramides, these are from our lipids, which these lock in moisture within our skin. And also it's just that our body doesn't function properly, the skin isn't functioning properly, and that's then becomes drier, flakier. You may notice more redness within the skin as well. And you can also develop adult acne. This is something that I see a lot with my own clients. You may get some real, hormonal breakouts, especially around the jaw area, which can be quite sore as well. Also, the skin does become a lot thinner, and this is because of the estrogen depleting over our menopause journey. And within the first 5 years of your perimenopause journey, 30% of your collagen breaks down. And then after that, each year it is 1% of your collagen that does break down. So it does rapidly, it does go down quite quickly. So it's finding ways to, to help maintain your skin and look after it externally and internally throughout this journey. You may also find as well that you might get some more broken capillaries, especially around the nose area and around the cheek area. You may get a little bit more there. And again, this is because the skin is becoming thinner, more fragile. So those blood vessels are becoming a little bit more vulnerable and exposed. You will also may find that your skin is becoming drier and duller. you're losing a sort of, you feel like you're losing your identity a little bit. You're losing the structure around your jawline. And again, this is because the collagen and the elastin, which is your bricks and mortar of your skin, is slowly breaking down with the estrogen depleting and also the spikes with your progesterone. So also you may find a little bit as well flushing through your hot sweats if you do suffer with night sweats. Again, sometimes I used to get these even in my normal cycle before I had started on the peri-menopause. I did find that I still, my skin had lots of changes during those times. And this also can be a little bit because even when you're on your normal cycle, your estrogen is still fluctuating a little bit, even if you're having a regular period. And obviously, as we go through more of the menopause journey, your skin, will change a lot. And everybody is affected differently. And for me, I've always struggled with an acne skin when I was younger. And as I've started on this journey, I've found that my skin has become a lot drier, a lot tighter, even on my body. So it's looking at things, and this is where things like, your nutrition and your products and just general well-being, how you're looking after yourself, keeping that cortisol down in your body to, to help with your skin. So things that you can avoid, which also can have an impact on the skin, is things like alcohol, spicy foods, lots of caffeine. All these things can contribute to, changes within the skin. You may also notice as well that you do get a little bit more like pigmentation, and these are like brown age spots. You can get this around here. Some people get it during pregnancy, which is melasma, which is like the pregnancy mass. So some people do get that in there. So that can be a little bit more noticeable during perimenopause and menopause. So what things can help your skin? What can we look for to sort of products out there on the market? So I'm not going to go into specific brands because I know there's lots of people on here from different parts of the world. So I'm going to go into what ingredients that I want, of which will help and support your skin during this time. So looking for ingredients like peptides. So peptides are amino acids, and these help to support the collagen of the skin. They nourish and they just moisturize our skin. So you'll notice sometimes within products, it might say, peptides in there. So have a look at different strengths of them and have a look at those when you are looking for ingredients. Ceramides, these are what protects the skin's barrier. So these are from natural lipids that are within our skin. And these protect your skin's barrier. They improve the hydration of the skin, the texture, and they also protect us against environmental external factors such as pollution, smoke, if depending on your working environment, heat and cold, those sort of things. Another ingredient for you to look for is niacinamide, which is a form of vitamin B3. This is an amazing anti-inflammatory ingredient which improves skin texture, reduces fine lines, wrinkles, and just helps the overall skin texture feel better and helps with that tightness of the skin. Another powerful ingredient is vitamin C. This is an amazing ingredient for promoting collagen. It helps brighten and just lighten the skin, especially if you've got any areas of pigmentation as well, is really good for that. Also helps to protect your skin from those external factors. And the one thing with vitamin C is there's lots of different ones out there on the market. So make sure when you are looking for them, starting off a lower percentage, the between 1 and 20% is your vitamin C's. You've got L-ascorbic acid. Now, that is something that's really good for boosting the collagen, but also you've got to be really mindful if you have got sensitive skin, because it can irritate the skin. Because it's quite a high strength vitamin C. It is a stabilized one, so it does keep well and it does maintain well in the skin. So look for something that's a sodium ascorbic vitamin C for a more sensitive skin. It's a little bit kinder to the skin, a little bit less irritant. And also, when you do look for vitamin C, look for something that's in a darker packaging. Anything that's in a lighter packaging will not absorb. It'll go off quickly because you need that protection from the darker bottle. So if something's in a light bottle, clear bottle, the likelihood is that it's not probably a very good vitamin C, and you would be, wasting your money. Look for things like cleansing milks, cleansing balms, oils, things that are going to really nourish your skin. Keep your routine simple. Go gentle on it and just work with your own skin and get to know your own skin. What might work for your friend or for somebody else. Look at things, for yourself. Speak to a skin specialist if you've got that accessibility to, and just finding what works for you. Hyaluronic acid is another great ingredient. You'll see different strengths of this as well. You want to look for something that's got like a good delivery system in it, so that it's actually working within the skin and not just superficially working on the skin. And just a few little things just to tie things up is, it's just like I said, listening to your skin, gentle exfoliation, go easy on the acids like your retinols and things like that, because those can actually irritate the skin, retinols, especially where your skin is a bit more vulnerable and you're more sensitive. Retinols will irritate the skin a little bit more. So just be really mindful when you are using those. They're great, if you've got the advice from a skin specialist, because they will guide you on how to use a retinol. These should be introduced really slowly into your skin, just a couple of times a week for a few weeks, then every other night, and then you can gradually build them up, not all straight away, because you will find then you'll get lots of changes. And so just keeping your skincare routine really simple. I always say my top 3 skincare ingredients are to cleanse, moisturize to protect that barrier, and SPF. SPF is absolutely vital. Every day of the year, no matter whether it's raining, snowing, whatever, is keeping your skin protected from those UVA and UVB rays, from burning, causing skin cancer and damage to your skin. And those are my top 3 products that I would definitely say to look for. And just being mindful of your well-being, meditation, keep that stress down, get outside, fresh air, and, just keep things simple and listen to your own body and do what is right, right for you. So thank you there for listening, everybody. I'm going to pop you over to Renata now, and she's going to go through the nutritional side for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ah, awesome, Emily. Thank you so much. I learned a lot even just listening to your talk. That's great. So today, what I want to do for my portion of this presentation is to talk about the 5 hormones that you must need to know about in order to have hormonal balance, which is going to be really powerful for not only your skincare, but also your overall wellness. And in addition, we're going to talk about really powerful foods that will support your hormones as it's changing. So whether you're in your reproductive years or, like we talked about, in perimenopause or menopause, these foods are going to be really powerful to help with your overall health and wellness, in addition to making your skin glow. So first things first, we're going to talk about something called the hormone hierarchy. This is really important to have an understanding of, because it's basically telling us what are the hormones that will give us the biggest impact, and then it will trickle down into the hormone that will give us, a little bit less of an impact, and so on and so forth. So with the hormone hierarchy, this is how we're going to really approach the 5 hormones that you need to know about. So the one at the absolute top of this hierarchy is a hormone called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is also known as the love hormone or the cuddle hormone. It is something that you might recognize if you've ever been pregnant and like been holding your baby or breastfeeding. It is that sensation when, for instance, you hug someone that you love for greater than 20 seconds, where you feel like a warmth and a love come over you. That's actually a hormone being produced by the body, and it's called oxytocin. Now, the reason why oxytocin is at the top of the hormone hierarchy is because it has the biggest impact on all other hormones. And there's greater than 65 hormones that we have in the body. So when we really choose to boost our oxytocin, it actually has a massive positive ripple effect on all other hormones, including sex hormones, which Emily mentioned before, like estrogen and progesterone. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit too. So how do we boost oxytocin, this incredibly powerful hormone that not many people know about? Well, Unfortunately, oxytocin is not something that we can get through eating particular foods, although we can make sure that we're getting enough vitamins and minerals so that our body can actively produce it. But what we need to do, especially for us as women, is to make sure we are doing daily self-care. So when we look after ourselves, when we do the things that we really enjoy and love to do, what happens is it's naturally boosting the body's production of oxytocin. So this might mean coming up with a list of perhaps 10 different things that really bring you joy. What are those things that give you that warm, fuzzy feeling inside that help to bring a smile to your face, that help you to de-stress as well? When you have that list of 10 things that bring you that boost of joy and happiness and oxytocin, you want to make sure you're doing this at least on a daily basis, if not multiple times a day, because it is going to do things like decrease your stress, help to improve your insulin sensitivity. This is really important for people who might also have diabetes in their family, or they might have diabetes themselves, and is going to help your sex hormones to continue to be produced at the correct levels. So oxytocin is definitely the first hormone that you need to know about. Now, the second hormone, and Emily mentioned this too, is cortisol, your stress hormone. For us as women, especially as you're going through life, you might notice you're putting a little more and a little bit more and a little bit more responsibility, tasks, kids, family members into your to-do list for the day. And it might feel like it's a never-ending list of things that you're doing for others. That stress, interestingly enough, as we age, impacts us more and more. So the higher the amount of stress that we're experiencing as we age, the more impact negatively that has on our bodies and our hormone production. So it's really important for us to think about, how much stress do I really have in my life and where is it coming from? Think about, how can I make sure I'm minimizing that stress, or as much as possible managing the stress? And by that, I mean having those daily stress management practices like meditation or yoga or journaling. These are all really effective outlets when you do have stress in your life, because let's be real, we're not going to escape stress. So we just need to know, how can we make sure we are managing it at the basic level, or at the best level, making sure we can remove some of those stressors from our lives. So that's cortisol, your stress hormone. In addition, I will say there's a really powerful mineral that you can think about taking, and it's called magnesium. So magnesium is found in lots of different foods, including my favorite, dark chocolate. So dark chocolate is a powerful food for giving you some naturally occurring magnesium from the cocoa beans. And what magnesium does is it helps to relax all the muscles in the body. This is especially important if you get cramping. So if some of your PMS symptoms are cramping either before or during your period, magnesium, either from food or from a supplement, can be really fantastic for helping to relax all of the muscles in the body, including the ones that generate cramps. So do keep that in mind, because it can be helpful if you are quite stressed out or have a stressful job, for instance, and have trouble sleeping. I have some clients that will take magnesium at night, and this just really helps them to start to relax in order to drift off into sleep. So cortisol is your second hormone that you need to know. Now we're going to move into our sex hormones. And so the next one we're going to talk about is actually testosterone. So what many women don't realize is that testosterone is in our bodies as women. It's just at lesser amounts than it occurs in men, and also vice versa. Men also have estrogen, which is known as like a female sex hormone. They just have it in lesser amounts. So for us women, testosterone does occur in the body. Now we might find as we get into peri-menopause that our testosterone levels are changing, just like the other hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So that's why things like lab testing can be really powerful, so that you understand where your testosterone level is, as well as how that might be changing throughout the day or over time. So I just want to kind of shine a little bit of a light on testosterone. It does help with things like increasing your metabolism. It can be really helpful for muscle growth. And so that's why if you're noticing it's really hard to, for instance, lose weight or to gain muscle, we do want to be cognizant of our testosterone levels, because as we age, that will continue to decline over time. Now, HRT is also known as hormone replacement therapy. And I do have some clients that actually take additional testosterone through HRT, and that's become a decision that's really helpful for them in order to make sure their hormone levels are balanced. So you can get testosterone through synthetic testosterone. It's basically testosterone that's made by a laboratory. And I just want to mention it because hormone replacement therapy can be something that might be considered a stigma to talk about. But honestly, if it's helpful for you, that is wonderful. Your hormones are going to be continuing to change. I mean, honestly, as soon as we hit puberty, our hormones are going to continue to change forever and ever. So knowing what works for you is so, so important. And so that's why I want to bring up hormone replacement therapy, just in case that is something you're curious about, and especially if it's affecting things like weight loss or muscle gain. Now, the fourth and fifth hormones we want to talk about are estrogen and progesterone. So estrogen is known as a growth hormone. So especially if you've ever been pregnant, estrogen is the one that helps the baby to grow. It's also really responsible during your ovulation for helping you to look glowing in the skin and like have this beautiful radiance. So that's also why pregnant women tend to look incredible, because they have all this estrogen in their bodies too. Estrogen is going to fluctuate during the cycle. The menstrual cycle is what I'm referring to. And so it's important to understand how estrogen is changing throughout the cycle so that you know how you can potentially change the foods that you're eating, but also understand how this could be potentially affecting your mood and your energy levels too. So during the menstruation phase, that's when estrogen and progesterone are going to be at their lowest. The body is not making very much of them at all because it's the drop in those hormones that cause menstruation to happen. Then once you're finished bleeding, we move into a phase called the follicular phase. This is called the follicular phase because basically the follicles in the ovaries are going to start to mature so that we can release an egg. So during this follicular phase are when estrogen is going to start to increase over time. It's a gradual increase because eventually what it's trying to do is to increase estrogen so that those follicles mature. Then we get to the ovulatory phase. So this is obviously when you ovulate. This is when the egg is released. Estrogen then starts to dip after ovulation, which brings us to the luteal phase. So in this luteal phase is kind of like the opposite of the follicular phase. This is when estrogen is going to start to decline slowly over time until we get to the menstruation phase again. Now, when estrogen is low, you might imagine, yeah, I'm going to feel pretty low energy, just like I typically do during my period. Low energy, low mood, I might feel more tired as well. And then when estrogen is high, such as in the ovulatory phase, you feel great energy, your skin is glowing, you feel very confident, you feel like you can verbalize your thoughts and feelings really well too. So this is when estrogen is working as it should, or fluctuating as it should throughout the menstrual cycle. There's also times when estrogen is out of balance or not being produced in the correct amounts during the menstrual cycle too. And I want to focus on just one of those right now because this seems to be the most common issue for many women that I speak to, and that is high estrogen, also known as estrogen dominance. So this basically means you have way more estrogen in your body than your body needs. And this can sometimes happen because, if we think about the ovaries, it's producing estrogen. It's going to pump it out to different areas of the body. And then once it's been used in that function, it should turn off estrogen. Then that estrogen should go into the digestive system and get eliminated from the body through bowel movements. Now, if you're not having regular bowel movements, that means that all that estrogen is sitting in your digestive tract and it's going to get reabsorbed into the body. So that's how you can potentially end up with higher estrogen levels. Now, when estrogen is really high, you might also find it's really difficult to lose weight. But in terms of PMS symptoms, you might have very bad cramping, headaches, breast tenderness. You might also find that your flow is very heavy too. So this typically seems to be the thing that many women come to me because they have very heavy flows. But then as we dive deeper into it, we also find that they're not having regular bowel movements. So obviously what we want to do to help to fix that is to improve bowel movements on a daily basis. We can do that through things like hydration, as well as increasing fiber. So fiber is from all plant foods. It's really powerful because when we have enough fiber, on a daily basis, we actually allow our bodies to help to push more of the stool out of our bodies, as long as we're staying well hydrated too. So if you're thinking like, this high estrogen, this estrogen dominance could be a symptom that I have, definitely look at your digestive health. Look at, am I drinking enough water? Am I eating enough fiber on a daily basis? How can I make sure I'm having regular bowel movements so I don't reabsorb that estrogen that we talked about? Now we're going to move on to the fifth and final hormone that you definitely need to know about, and that is progesterone. So throughout the cycle, once again, during menstruation is when progesterone is going to be at its lowest, and it's going to remain fairly low until we get to ovulation. Once we've ovulated, that's when progesterone is going to increase. And the reason is because we're going to look at the word progesterone. Pro meaning for, and gesterone meaning to gestate or to carry a baby. So progesterone is going to stop becoming higher if the body is getting ready for possible pregnancy. So obviously, if the egg is released and you happen to have sperm there and they meet, with pregnancy, progesterone is going to remain high so that you hold on to the pregnancy. However, if you're not pregnant, then progesterone is going to drop off during that luteal phase. And as it drops off, that basically tells the body it's not pregnant and is going to start the process of getting towards the next menstruation or bleed phase. So that's something really simple to know about progesterone, is that it's there to help you to hold on to a baby. But it also has some other functions. And we're going back to PMS symptoms here. So with progesterone, if you find that right before your period, you have super high anxiety, progesterone is actually known as an anti-anxiety hormone as one of its many functions. So if you're finding your anxiety is really high, it can be a great indicator that your progesterone is dropped super, super low. So what can we do to help to boost that progesterone? So not only we don't feel super anxious, but it just helps to bring our energy levels back up a little bit. What we can do is focus on complex carbohydrates. So complex meaning it's going to break down slowly or be broken down by the body more slowly, which means that energy is going to be given to the body in slower amounts versus, like, for instance, if you have a bunch of ice cream, which is not a complex carbohydrate, it's going to impact your blood sugar level really quickly. And then as a result, you'll have a sugar crash afterwards. So complex carbohydrates are foods like sweet potatoes, brown rice. It could also be things like butternut squash, oats, quinoa, amaranth. Think about these fantastic sources of not only carbohydrates, but also higher in fiber. The fiber that's in those foods is what's helping you to break down that food more slowly, which gives you that more elongated energy level. Now, when we also eat these complex carbohydrates, it's just telling the body, okay, I have enough energy to create more progesterone. And that's what the body really needs to make sure that it's producing that particular hormone in the required amounts so that we don't get super anxious during that luteal phase. So those are the 5 hormones that I really believe women need to know about, especially if you're not only in your reproductive years, and we've talked a lot about the cycle, but as we go into perimenopause. So in perimenopause is when estrogen and progesterone are going to fluctuate even more and usually erratically. So it's really important for us to continue to track our cycles, our menstrual cycles, even though they may be irregular, and really focusing on nourishing whole foods, lean proteins, and healthy fats. So healthy fats, sometimes when we talk about this, women are like, oh, if I eat too many fats, I'm going to get fat. And that's not necessarily the case when we talk about healthy fats. So when I say healthy fats, we're talking about things like avocados, nuts, nut butters, seeds, and their associated seed butters. We're also talking about things like olive oil, like really good quality olive oil, or coconut oil. These are all sources of whole food healthy fats, and we need them because without it, our bodies actually don't produce hormones in the required amounts. So make sure you're getting between 1 to 2 tablespoons of healthy fats at each of your meals, no matter where they might come from. So it could be like the olive oil in your salad dressing, it could be the avocado on your tacos, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope that you've started thinking about hormones and nutrition in a more holistic way, because it's not just about, these specific hormones have one function. They have a lot of different functions. And the foods that we eat can actually help give the body enough energy to produce those hormones in the required amounts. So we talked a lot about specific nutrition for each of those hormones, and there's more. So at the end of this, I'm also going to be sharing a link where you can actually go and sign up to receive a special cheat sheet that gives you nutrition for each phase of your cycle. So we talked a little bit about it here today, but there's even more that you can consider and to start implementing in order to help you to have more hormone balance in your life. Okay, Emily, that's all I have in terms of nutrition and hormones.
Oh, thank you very much, Renata. That was amazing. I was like learned a lot there myself as well. And like Renata said, at the end of this, I too have a cheat sheet with everything that I've talked through today, with the things that you should be looking out for when it comes to your products and ingredients, and just some well-being tips from there. So what I will do is everybody that is signed up on here, I will email everything across to you along with the recording, and then you've got anything there. But before we sort of wrap up and everything, I just wanted to, give you this opportunity if you would like to answer some questions. If you want to unmute yourself, you can do. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want, but if there's any questions you've got whilst you've got me and Renata here to ask, whether it's skin related, hormone related, please, feel free to jump on now, and we will be hanging around here for the next couple of minutes, and then I will get everything sent to you, all recording and the cheat sheets. Is there anything you want to add, Renata, that I may have missed? Or
I would ask a question to you because I think that many women might be thinking this, but might not want to ask. And so, especially things with like as we get into perimenopause and menopause, our skin can get so dry.
yeah,
And that's because of estrogen dropping so low.
yeah.
So, what do you do on a daily basis to help with maintaining that hydration on your skin that you found to be super powerful?
I think for me, obviously, I mean, like you was talking about the hormone replacement treatment, I've been on that in the last 3 months, and I've significantly noticed a massive difference in my skin with that. But also I appreciate not everybody wants to go down that route. So things like your hydration is key, getting plenty of water in there daily, and looking at moisturizers, like I said, that are rich in your ceramides, because these are what's going to keep that moisture locked in. They're going to keep that barrier hydrated, and along with gentle exfoliation on the skin, just to keep those cells turning over. Because what does happen is, because your skin is fluctuating and your skin barrier function isn't quite what it was when you was younger, those skin cell cycles take a little bit longer to shed. So you might feel like your skin's a little bit more scaly. So we want to just, keep on top of that really gently. You don't have to go like really hard on, exfoliating. A good ceramide rich moisturizer. And also, taking a supplement like your omega-3, if you're not into lots of fish, that also will help with it. But I think just keeping a really basic routine, keeping on top of your hydration, exfoliation, and a ceramide rich barrier cream.
Love that. That's really helpful. And especially because you're talking about exfoliating, I learned this from you, and that is about like what's acting as the exfoliant in the product. I think that's another really important point to make, because sometimes they can put like all kinds of things in there that's actually damaging the skin more. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think naturally we think a lot of the time is that exfoliation is, we've got to use something that has got like scrub particles in it. But we've got to be really careful and mindful of these scrub particles, because sometimes they're not round like beads, so they can actually cause micro tears in the skin, which we don't see, which can then impair the barrier and cause lots of other problems, breakouts, redness, rosacea. So personally myself, I use an enzyme exfoliator which has pineapple and papaya enzymes in, and these are a little bit like Pac-Man. They eat away at those dead skin cells, getting rid of all that build-up on there. But also it's really important not to over exfoliate your skin, because we want to still protect that barrier. That barrier is there. It's got our, our microbiome, which is our good and bad bacteria. So we still want to protect that. So, doing too much exfoliation can then also cause lots of problems. And I think it's just finding that happy medium. And especially when we're going through lots of hormonal changes, just stick maybe with once a week, and just see how your skin goes. And if you feel you need a little bit more, introduce it twice a week, but give a good 2-3 day gap there, between them.
I love those tips because I definitely think as a teenager, I was exfoliating way too much.
Oh, I think definitely. And I think we all used things that was too rich. And this is what I was saying about when it comes to skin, you've got to, not think, oh, I've got to a certain age, I'm going through this, I've got to get all the acids, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Sometimes you need to just take your foot off a little bit and just, go in a bit slowly and just be mindful of your skin. And one thing I have found myself is when you are tracking your cycle and you do things, track your symptoms of your skin, and you'll start to see a trend. And you will probably find that if you're still having a cycle or those phases of it, because I still have a regular cycle, and I definitely find, even though I'm on HRT, where I still have that natural drop of the estrogen during my cycle, my skin does become a little bit drier and things. So keep a note of that, of when you're noticing that, and you might need to just change things up a little bit more in your skincare routine. You might need to introduce a hydrating serum, adding a mask in there weekly, and make it become like your self-care ritual. And obviously that will then relate back to what Renata was going through with the cortisol, and just things, and the oxytocin of making yourself feel good. So making your skincare routine something that is nice and simple but makes you feel good as well.
Brilliant. So good. I love that. Do you have any questions for me?
So I'm just checking the chat box just to make sure
Yeah.
nobody has any questions. One thing that I was going to ask you a little bit was about, obviously, when it does come to, like, when we're saying about keeping skin healthy and things like that, like, is there certain seeds or certain fish and things that are better for the skin when it comes to our cycle? Is there certain seeds we should be having at different times of the month and those sort of things?
Yeah, great question. So, really, what that gets me thinking about is seed cycling. And this is a holistic practice that's been shown to be really helpful for women that are cycling. So, having a regular cycle, like you mentioned. And basically, they're seeds. Now, the seeds are filled with so many incredible healthy fats, as we've mentioned before. So, when you're in your menstruation phase and your follicular phase, the two seeds that I recommend for seed cycling are pumpkin seeds and flax seeds. We want to get between 1 to 2 tablespoons of each of those seeds every day. And ideally, we want them to be like raw, organic. You don't want to add any salt to them, and also milled, so ground up, so it's nice fine powder. The reason for that is because it's actually super helpful to absorb more of the nutrients from those seeds. In addition, with seed cycling, to not only help with your skin health, it's going to help with making sure your hormones are more balanced. And so this is why we really like seed cycling as a holistic technique, because you're literally just eating a few extra seeds each day. You can add it on top of your salad, in your yogurt, in your oatmeal, on a stir fry perhaps. And so that's really helpful. Now we're going to move into the ovulatory phase and the luteal phase. And so for these two phases, the seeds change. And so we're thinking about sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. Again, it's 1 to 2 tablespoons per day each of these seeds. And the reason why these seeds are broken up into the different phases is because it's going to, in the first half of the cycle, help to promote the growing or the increase of the hormones as we're getting to that ovulatory phase. And then in the latter half of the cycle, helping to support, even as estrogen and progesterone are decreasing, not allowing that to get too low, which is when we start to have some of those PMS symptoms. So seed cycling is a really powerful practice. It's super quick and easy. And I've seen so many clients have great benefits just from doing that one thing, not just in terms of hormone balance and their cycle health, but also in terms of their mental, emotional, and skin health too.
Yeah, I love this, definitely. This is something that I really started to touch on. last year and looking at a little bit more, and like say adding it to, you know, your I add it to my Greek yogurt in the morning, and I will have it in smoothies, and sometimes like say I put some on stir fry things. So it's a great way of like say getting that in, a bit of that extra nutrition as well, isn't it? But yes, I think if anybody doesn't have any more questions, and obviously when I email everything out to you, if anything does come to anybody afterwards, after you know, after the masterclass, then please, you know, reach out to me and Renata. I'm just going to pop in here in the chat my Instagram handle, and if you want to pop yours in, Renata. And then if anybody wants to reach out to us, and you've got also mine is the same on Facebook. And oh, you're very welcome, Helen. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have all you know, taken a little bit something from this. But yes, if there's anything that anybody can think of, because I know sometimes things can come up at the end of things and afterwards, but please feel free to reach out to me and Renata, and hopefully there will be some more of these to come in the future with you all. But thank you again for everybody that's joined us this evening, and thank you very much, Renata. It's been really good. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.